Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Weight Loss for Women Over 40. We are starting a new series, and it is the Hormone Whisperer series. Um, I know a lot of you ladies out there want to blame your hormones, and we're going to do a different take on that. I'm sorry, I'm adjusting my screen for my notes, and it is not cooperating with me. So bear with me for 1 second here. Um, If you are new to the podcast, welcome. My name is Nikki T, also known as Nicole Tournay, and I have been in this industry for a very long time. 2002 was my first personal training certification, and I also worked in physical therapy. I was also a professional ballet dancer back in my younger years, and I am a female, and I'm very much in the category of, I thought I wanted this lean body and everything, and I had it, and I still have it, but back in the day, it was like my mindset just wasn't there. It was I hated myself, right? And I hated that I had to force myself and like suck it up buttercup type mentality. It just drove me nuts. So anyway, fast forward after working with a lot of clients teaching dieters mentality, because that is what you're taught as a personal trainer and a health coach and nutrition specialist. I found that I started working on my mindset and everything started to shift. Everything started to change. I was like, wow, this is so cool. Started putting it on my clients, and it was working for them as well. And fast forward now, that is what my jam is. I talk about mindset and really understanding why it is that you're doing the things that you're doing. Because again, if it was just easy to follow a diet and a workout program, we would all be healthy and fit, and I would not have a job, right? And I'm not saying that you need to follow a diet or anything like that, because I don't take that approach at all. But my point is that if you want to become a leaner version of yourself, a healthier version of yourself, and you're not, the gap is the identity that you are trying to become. And that comes from not trying to figure out how many macros or how many grams of whatever you need to eat or all that. It is understanding how you operate, your mindset, how you think about yourself, how you feel about things. It's so much the psychology behind what you do on a regular basis. So if you don't have the body that you want, that's okay. It's just the mindset that is in the way. And especially if you've done gazillion trillion diets, because every woman that comes to me is like, I've done it all. Well, you haven't done it all if you haven't worked with me, but I hear you. But notice the pattern. Like if you keep picking diets and you keep doing these things and they're not gelling, what's not working for you? It's not the thing, it's the mindset. So today we're going to be talking about hormones. And we're going to be talking hormones 101, not just about estrogen, because hormones is a big conversation. And a lot of times I don't dive into it. I have done some podcasts, so you can go back and look at them and, um, dive into them, because I do talk about, the different types of hormones and things like that. But this is not going to be your typical hormone conversation, because we're not just going to be talking about estrogen, progesterone, cortisol. And I'm definitely not going to give you like a thing of symptoms and stuff that you can go Google on, the search engine, because there's so much information out there, right? And a lot of you listening are probably not going to want to hear what I have to say next. But hang with me, okay? Just keep an open mind on this podcast, especially this episode. Most women don't have a hormone problem. It's that you have a hormone miscommunication. Your body is talking to you all day long. It sends you signals, right? We have pain signals. We have endorphins. We have all these things that show up in our life on a regular basis. We have cravings. We have energy dips. We have mood swings. We have sleep patterns. We have weight fluctuations. Come on, ladies, especially if you're still getting your period, you're probably still fluctuating. I know for me, I'm hopefully, fingers crossed, in that last kick into menopause, and there's some fluctuations going on. There's some things going on, right? And again, I don't want to discount any medication or anything like that, because you do you. That's your choice, right? To do hormone replacement or whatever. And I know some people that have taken it and they feel better, and that's great. But if you're one of those people that's like, I don't want to take any medicine, I don't want to take pills, and that's me. I don't want to take hormone replacement therapy or anything like that. I'd rather go in and go, okay, what's going on up here in my mind? Because we are taught so much stuff about this big change that's going to happen to us in our 40s and 50s, whenever it happens, right? The big change, the menopause. And there's a lot of stuff that goes with it. It's like the tall tales that we sit around a campfire, right, back in the day, where we're like, oh my gosh, you're gonna gain so much weight, and you're gonna feel like crap, and you're gonna be moody, and you're gonna have road rage, and for no reason you're gonna fly off the handle, right? And I feel like, to an extent, it almost gives us some excuses in our behavior. And I want you to step back and try to interpret those signals. What's going on, right? Because we've been taught to override them. We've been taught to ignore them or embrace them, right? Like, I always talk about the rage one, right? Because again, you're supposed to be, in quotes, very moody when you hit this phase of your life. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be moody for 10 years. I don't want to be moody for a decade as I'm going through perimenopause, right? Granted, I know I'm at the tail end of this, but I want to offer that if you've been told that you're going to have mood swings and you don't have your mind managed yet, chances are you're going to have mood swings because you don't understand how you're operating. So, meaning, we all have intrusive thoughts, right? We all have these thoughts of like, oh my gosh, I would want to kill them or whatever, right? But we don't act on them unless you're a sociopath, unless you're like a normal human being that cares about people in the world. You don't generally do the things that pop in your head, right? If you are angry at your spouse or your kids, you have the option of not lashing out. That comes from patterns. I know this because I know, again, growing up in the ballet world, the way I was taught, and this is not everybody, but the way I was taught was yelling was the answer. Yelling got people to do things. And when I became a ballet teacher, guess what I did? And I hate myself for it because these poor children got me yelling at them, right? In an effort, I was thinking I was motivating. I was thinking that I was pushing them. But I always had a choice. I didn't have to yell at them. I just, through my learning of in the ballet world, that is how I thought it would motivate them, right? So, and maybe you have a similar thing in your life. Maybe your mom always flew off the handle and she blamed it on her hormones. But if we understand why we operate and the patterns that we keep repeating, we have the option. You don't have to go flying off the handle. You don't have to explode. You don't have to have these massive mood swings that everybody keeps talking about, right? That's one of my little tangents about the whole hormonal process after 40. Okay. So we've been taught, we've been indoctrinated on how we should behave as we go through this process. I can tell you personally, this is my personal experience. I didn't have that rage. I didn't have those mood swings. I do have mood swings, right? I do understand, like, there's times when I'm really sad and there's times when I'm happy and there's times in between. I get to decide. So if I'm having a bad day, quote unquote, or I'm moody or I'm kind of angry, and I could choose to take it out on somebody, but knowing the mindset work that I've done, I don't have to, right? That's my point. I'm hoping that I'm drilling this in because we haven't even gotten to the podcast yet. So, um, so in this series, I'm going to teach you how to actually listen to your body, because when you understand your body, weight loss stops feeling like a fight. It stops feeling like you're climbing up this massive menopause hill that just keeps, boulders keep rolling down the hill, knocking you off your path. It doesn't have to be that way. All right. So this whole process is not just about estrogen, right? It never was. Estrogen gets a lot of focus, yes, because it's getting lower, things are shifting, but let's really clear this up. When women hit their 40s, and again, I say 40s just because that's a general age. It could happen a little earlier, could happen later, whatever. But everything after 40 becomes my hormones are off. And that usually means estrogen. But our bodies don't run on one hormone. Our hormones is a system. It's a bunch of hormones acting together as a team. I want you to think of it as an orchestra. The violinist isn't playing by herself because then you want to have the orchestra, right? Everybody has their own part, even the little triangle dude or triangle woman that has that one little ting, right? They all are working together to produce this beautiful music. So you don't just have one instrument playing inside of you. You have insulin, you have cortisol, you have your thyroid hormones, leptin, ghrelin, right? Those are your hunger signals and satiety, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. You've got so many different hormones in there. And the beautiful thing about your body is when one thing is off, it affects them all, but they all are like a team. They all try and support them each other. And you know, all what is that saying? All ships rise, right? We're all trying, they're all on the same team. So when you're constantly tired, when you're holding on to some extra weight, if you're craving sugar or any kind of cravings, you're feeling wired, but you're exhausted, right? That's not just estrogen, it's your whole system communicating with you. And I want you to really look at this phase in your life as not a broken moment or I'm, pardon my French, going to shit, right? It's time to wheel myself out to pasture. It's about your body adapting to the next phase of life. It's reverse puberty, right? When you were, I don't know, 11, 12, 13, and you got your period, like there was a process that you went through, whether you were aware of it or not. There was a process you went through when you started getting your period and when you started getting into those like fertility years, right? Your body's always adapting. So why is menopause any different than anything else? We think that this is like the end of life, right? We're going to dry up and just blow away in the breeze. This is where I want you to shift your mindset because most women come into this error thinking that your body is not working with you, like your body is against you. It's not. Your body is working for you. It does its damnness to keep yourself healthy and safe all day long. Now, because we're not in a primitive situation, it doesn't always serve us, right? Our primitive brain trying to keep us safe from going out and getting the job that we want or starting the business that we want doesn't serve us. It served us when we were in a cave and we had to go hunt and saber-toothed tigers were around every corner. But your body is adapting. It's adapting to the changes, the physiological changes that we're going through. And again, from my physical therapy background, I saw this all the time, right? Your body will compensate in order to protect you. So if you say, let's say you sprain an ankle, right? On your right side, your left side will pick up the slack, right? Which is why a lot of times when you get injured, say on your right side, and your body picks up the slack on the left side starts to get injured because it's trying to take over and help your body. Your body works as a team. It compensates to protect you, right? So if something is off, the body just doesn't shut down, right? It reroutes. It's like the detour that you run into. It's trying to get you back on path. It's the same thing with your hormones, right? If your body is stressed, if it's underfueled, if it's overworked, it's not recovering. It will adjust your hormones to keep you safe. So weight gain, fatigue, cravings, It's not that your body hates you. That's feedback your body's giving you. That's signals that your body's like, hey, something's going on. And true to form, right? Sometimes we miss those little early signals. It's like, I always say this in the sense of like, when you're ready to shift your life, if you believe in God or whatever you want to call it, God, universe, whatever, God will tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, go over there, right? And if you ignore it, he comes in and he's like, patting you on the back, hey, go over there. And you still ignore it. Then he comes in and hits you with a 2x4, and you're like, I don't know, maybe I should change. But no, you go back to your old patterns. Then the Mack truck comes in and runs you over. And then you're like, oh, I should really stop smoking. Or, oh, I should really be healthy. Right? It's the same thing with our body. We miss a lot of those little signals because, we're either busy doing our day or we just don't pay attention to it. Until it gets louder and louder and louder. And usually by the time we hear it, we're like, oh crap, right? And again, I'm not saying that every little thing that you feel, you have to go running to a doctor or anything like that, but just notice it. Notice when you eat and you feel like you're very bloated. Notice how you feel when you don't get enough sleep, right? Things like that, right? So let's break this down into something you can actually use, right? Um, I'm sure that you are experiencing signals, but let's interpret them in a positive way, right? So let's talk about cravings. I love cravings, and I will tell you why. Because I used to have massive cravings. I mean, like insane cravings. Like, I have a whole course called Crush Your Cravings, and it is based around my obsession, my kryptonite with white powdered cream filled donuts. And cravings, most of you out there think it's about willpower and it's about resistance. And because that's what you've been told, right? But cravings are often your body telling you something, right? Sometimes it's you need a quick energy, right? Maybe your blood sugar is dropping, which is a whole other topic. Could be that you're feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed, high cortisol levels, that kind of thing. Could be that you just need a break. But again, cravings can be physiological. So, meaning a lot of times, if you're craving chocolate, sometimes you might need some magnesium, right? So, I'm not discounting that, but a lot of cravings are psychological. A lot of cravings are, oh my gosh, I want those white powdered cream filled donuts, but I shouldn't have them because I am trying to lose weight. I am trying to keep my figure, whatever it is, right? So, you create stress because you can't have them because you're making yourself not have them. And guess what happens when you resist like that? You want them more. There is a whole psychological aspect to cravings that most people override. Most people are like, oh, I'm craving something. It must be my hormones. Could be, but how about we figure out if it's your mindset first? Because that's so much easier to figure out and shift than it is to get blood panels and all that other stuff, right? This is not a discipline issue. It is a communication issue. It's understanding the patterns that you're operating from. My Crush Your Cravings course, again, really came out of me overcoming these white powder cream filled donuts that were calling to me from other rooms in the house. Like, I could not, I was obsessed. It was like Alice in Wonderland food going, eat me, eat me, eat me, talking to me constantly. I was obsessed. If they were in a 10-foot 20-foot radius of me, holy cow, it took every fiber of my being to not eat them. And guess what happened? I ate them anyway. And I ate a lot of them. We're talking, I'm not even joking, like 6 in a sitting sometimes. I would feel sick afterwards. Didn't matter because I got my fix, right? But Crush Your Cravings was built out of that. It is a method that I have that absolutely worked for me and for my clients that have taken it. And it is all based on mindset techniques. It is not about willpower. It is not about distract yourself and do something else until it passes. No, because that never works. I feel like that just made me more obsessive, right? It's really about having your most tempting food in front of you and deciding calmly whether you want to eat it or not. Because it's never about never eating it again. Like, I couldn't imagine a world where I am never eating a white powdered cream filled donut ever again. Cinnabon buns is another one of mine. Like, I couldn't imagine never eating that again. So it's not about freaking out about the food. It's about understanding that you have the option. Like, it's so you can emotionally decide whether you want to eat that food or not instead of freaking out and obsessing about the food. So in turn, you do emotionally eat. Does that make sense? Like, you can put a white powdered cream filled donut in front of me and I don't freak out anymore. I decide, am I going to eat this? And it could be yes. Am I going to eat half of it? Am I going to eat a quarter of it? Am I going to eat the whole thing? Am I going to have another one? But it's not, oh my gosh, I have to eat it. I have to eat it. But I can't. It's that whole ping pong match, right? In your head. That is what Crush Your Cravings course is all about. Um, I'm trying to think. You can get it right now if you work with me privately. It will be inside of my small group that I'm going to be offering in September. So keep that in mind. It's a great course. Anyway, all right, moving on. Second one is fatigue, right? You think you need more coffee. You think you need an energy boost, right? But fatigue can mean your nervous system is dysregulated, your sleep quality is off. I will say, I know for me, my sleep has definitely been off lately because I get hot at night and I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out. I don't know if it's a hot flash per se because it doesn't feel like I'm being set on fire, but it's definitely a hot thing. So there's a whole other aspect to that too. Like, a lot of people get pissed off because they're not able to sleep, which in turn keeps you up more because you're pissed off, right? I have worked with clients with sleep as well. So just keep that in mind. Um, Fatigue could also be your body doesn't feel safe enough to have stable energy, right? A lot of this could be the foods that you're eating. Let's get real. There's a lot of processed crap out there. I do have a no foods off limits policy, but I also support that with you have to find foods that fuel your body. You know, Cheetos and Doritos, they're probably not going to fuel your body. Doesn't mean you can't ever eat them, but depending on what you're eating, you know, is it giving you the energy that you want? So instead of asking, how do I push through? Ask, what is my body trying to get me to slow down from? I know for me, I was a huge napper back, not rapper, napper back in my 20s and my 30s. Um, Probably because I had like 9 million jobs to support my dance habit. Um, when I was a professional dancer, they don't pay you well. So I was always waiting tables and the hours and, bartending. I was also a barista. So that's early hours, and then you have class and then you teach and then you have rehearsal and all this stuff. But I got really, really good at taking power naps, right? Um, 20 minutes. That's all I need. Just 20-minute little power nap. And I got really good at them. Maybe that's an option for you. I don't know. I will say I have been experimenting with naps again because, like I just said, I'm not sleeping through the night a lot of times. Um, I do have the flexibility, and with what I do, that I can wake up whatever time I want. I choose to wake up earlier so I can go work out and do my things, but a lot of times I get tired in the afternoon, right? So taking a little power nap, which, as a total side note experiment, I find it fascinating. I literally can fall asleep and I will wake up almost to the minute, 20 minutes. on point. Like 20-minute nap literally is all that I need. It's very refreshing. I love when the weather starts to change, like in the spring and the windows are open and I just snuggle up on the couch. I can feel the breeze and the birds are chirping, 20 minutes and then I'm up. Um, I know that I have done also, and I've heard of this, that you can have a cup of coffee, take a 20-minute nap, and then when you wake up, by the time the coffee is, in your system, you feel even more refreshed. So, but again, it's not necessarily taking caffeine or don't even get me started on the monster drinks and the energy drinks because that if you're asking for a heart attack, that's the way to go, in my opinion. Um, Even sugar, like, we think that we want these quick bursts of energy, but that sugar cycle is not going to help you, right? It's going to boost you up and then it's going to drop you. And then you're going to want more sugar and more carbs. So there is, I think, a food component as far as what you eat will either give you energy or make you feel tired, right? Again, this is something that I work on with private clients. We don't talk about, oh, here's the 1,200 calories you need, and here's the macros, and blah, 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 blah. No, but definitely we want to be able to fuel your body, right? But having no foods off limits also trumps that as a starter point. All right, the next thing is weight plateaus. Now, if you have followed me, I don't believe in plateaus because I don't think that you're never like you can maintain, right? But there's no plateaus. Like I don't think your body is holding on to stuff and that kind of thing because you can always change it. So a lot of times people think, they just need to push harder and to get a 1,200 calorie diets or whatever, or macro, and then work out more. But sometimes your body, if it's holding on to weight, sometimes your body is telling you, I don't feel safe enough to lose weight right now. This is why the psychology part, I think, is so vital and so important. Because a lot of times, people that are trying to lose weight or attempting to lose weight, and maybe they're following everything perfectly, something is not adding up. So, meaning it's got to be the mindset, it's got to be the psychology behind it. That's probably a whole nother, that would be something I would want to do in a closed like table of 12 people and have a conversation about this because our bodies will hold on to weight to keep us safe, whether that's from a trauma we had in the past. A lot of SA kind of things will definitely hold on because you don't want to be seen. You don't want to be considered an object of affection or an object to somebody else type of thing. There's a lot of things like if you've gone through stuff, so say you've gone through a divorce or you've gone through a grieving process, a lot of times your body will hold on the weight just to kind of keep you safe and protected. But once you get your nervous system regulated and you understand and lower your stress levels and your cortisol, the weight comes off, right? This is why I say it's not about the food and the workout, right? The first thing that you need to address is your mindset, the psychology of what's going on between your ears. When you are holding on to weight from like a hormonal standpoint, weight loss is not considered a priority because your body thinks it's in stress. It thinks it's like in danger, especially stresses, cortisol level, right? So this is another thing that I think a lot of people don't talk about with hormones is the psychology behind it. And your thoughts do influence your hormones, not in some like fluffy, weird way, like in a psychological way. If you're constantly thinking, I'm behind, I need to fix myself, my body isn't where it should be, your body stays in a low level stress response, right? That creates some level of anxiety, even if it's low level. That will impact cortisol levels, insulin, fat storage, and those good old cravings, because cravings are essentially emotionally eating. So if you're feeling down about yourself and you want to feel better about yourself, a lot of people just go, hey, how about a white powdered cream filled donut? That would make me feel better. Cake is definitely the answer, right? So even if you're doing everything quote unquote right, your internal pressure is keeping your body in defense mode. This is why two women can do the exact same plan and get completely different results. So I want you to embrace becoming your own hormone whisperer. This is the identity I want you to start stepping into. A woman who doesn't panic over her symptoms, doesn't jump to restriction, right? You see that scale go up. Oh my gosh, I need to like stop eating. I need to go on a diet. And don't assume something is wrong. Maybe something is just adjusting, right? I am not a doctor. I do not claim to be one, but we have lost touch with our bodies and the signals that it gives us. So instead, get curious. What is my body telling me? What's recently changed? Circumstantially, physically, emotionally, what's changed? What do I actually need right now in this moment? That's a really good one for cravings. What do you need in this moment right now? Because 9 times out of 10, it's not a donut. I'm sorry. Sorry to tell you that. It's not a donut. But this is awareness, right? And this is how you start regulating. And this is how you work with your body, with it, right? With your body instead of against it. So I don't want you to leave this episode feeling overwhelmed or like, oh my gosh, that was a lot of information, or, she just counted everything. So here's what I want you to start with. Over the next few days, instead of reacting to your body, track your signals that you're getting without judgment. Notice when you are feeling hungry. Notice if some cravings hit you. What are they? Notice when your energy drops. Notice how your mood shifts. And instead of labeling these as bad, let's label them as just information. That alone will start changing the relationship that you have with your body. So weight loss over 40 is not about more restriction. It is not about being more disciplined. And it is not about having more control over everything. It's really about better interpretation of the signals that you are getting, regulating your nervous system, regulating your thoughts, and aligning with the identity that you want with your body. Because your body will release the weight when it feels safe to do so. So as we go through this series, I want you to start shifting from I need to fix my hormones, my life sucks because I'm almost at menopause, or anything that feels heavy like that. Shift it to I am learning how to understand my body, right? Because my body is very different than your body. And your mom's body is very different than your body. Your friends' bodies are very different than your body. You are unique and an individual all in by yourself, right? That's where things start to change. When you start understanding how you operate. I'll never forget, I've always felt like I was pretty in tune with my body, especially with ballet. Like knowing where the muscles feel, like I didn't know what they were called or anything, but I could sense where they were, right? And this might partly be because too, I had always had migraines and I felt very hypersensitive to different physical feelings when I would have a migraine. But I remember I was personal training a client, and I was describing something about feeling some sort of muscle, and they were like, how are you so in tune with your body like that? But that's where I think we need to become on that level, right? Like our like don't just wander around in this blob of skin and bones, right? Like let's get to know each other. Let's get to know what's going on inside. Because the more in tune you are to what's going on, the earlier signals you can catch, right? So if you're listening to this and you're realizing I have been fighting my body this whole entire time for decades and decades, this is the exact work that I do inside of my private coaching. We don't guess, we definitely do not restrict, but I help you understand the patterns of your body and your signals and understand the psychology behind why it is that you keep repeating the patterns that you're doing. So weight loss will start to feel more aligned instead of forced. If you want to apply for private coaching, you can do so at weightlossforwomenover40.net. Again, that's weightlossforwomen over40.net/call, CALL. The link will be in the show notes. I hope you enjoyed the first episode of the Hormone Whisperer series. We are going to be continuing this in the next episode. All right, have a beautiful day. Start listening to your body and see what it has to tell you. I'll talk to you soon.